Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Board Game Barbecue, episode 354, brought to you by Advent Games, More Than Meeples, and our Patreons. Welcome to a very intimate episode today. It's just myself, and I'm joined by my fellow wedding attendant in Dana. How you going, Dana?
Hello, Connor. We're a couple. Today we're a couple. Maybe not a couple. Okay, that's not
I don't think so. No, I'm not happy with that. Sorry. No. As charming as you were at the wedding.
Duo. Yeah. Okay, duo.
Duo.
Yeah. Sorry, duo. It came out wrong.
I think duo is fine. I think duo is good. We've had a pretty hectic kind of last month between the two of us in terms of like our personal lives. You've been gallivanting around the United Kingdom.
I have. I was away for a month. And
that's so long. Was it good? Was it fun?
It was great. Actually, I really got to switch off from, social media and things like that. But I was able to just spend time with family, which was great. I did visit a board game store. There was a great store. If anyone ever goes to the UK, I was staying in Buckinghamshire, and there's a board game store called Wayland Games, and it's in a place called Milton Keynes. Actually, it's very, very good. Themed play spaces, food that you can order there.
Wow. So it's almost like a cafe type deal.
Yeah, but it was very, very nice. Separate rooms, separate play spaces and everything. It was very nice, and a decent selection of board games as well. So it was very nice. I did actually get to go to Poland as well. I went to do a bucket list item, which was Auschwitz, and that was very moving and very, very cold. It was minus 11 degrees while we were there at Auschwitz.
And for those of you who are international listeners, Dana lives in Queensland, in Brisbane. What's the lowest it gets to? What do you reckon, like 20 degrees Celsius?
No, it probably gets to 50. It's probably been as cold as 15 during the day. But if it's any less than 20, I'm wearing a jumper. So minus 11 is extremely cold. Like it goes into your bones, man.
That's cold. That's cold for me. A former Victorian, a former Warrnamboolian, and we were talking on the ride to Jules that you're up until the mischief I caused myself, you were almost running out of material for making fun of me because I moved.
No, I'm actually disappointed. I'm disappointed that I can't make fun of the fact that you're from out in the sticks and in the middle of nowhere. But now you're just from Sydney. You're just everybody else.
I wonder if it's like, we don't want to engage with you anymore. Like you had a certain country charm. I still have the charm. Okay,
you've still got the accent and the charm. Yeah.
It's throwing off a couple of the kids, I think, at school because I say stuff like, "Hey, going," and they're like, "Well." These kids from the northern beaches and stuff. But it's been good. I've really enjoyed it so far. And one of the benefits of moving up here was it was incredibly easy to go to our co-hosts, our good friend, Jules and Kieran's wedding. You might have seen on our socials. You, Lauren, we saw former hosts in Mitch and Dan there. It was great to take a photo with them. I got to hang out with your very amusing husband, Ben, and
of course, he thinks he's amusing.
I think he's pretty amusing. I think he's pretty amusing, to be perfectly honest.
I think it drives me mental.
And of course, we always comment and shout out to James, like James, just Mr. Social. I think there's lots of similarities between Ben and James. I think they can just strike up conversations with anyone.
I think Lauren and James had just gotten to the wedding, and it wasn't long before the service was starting, and he just walked off and went, "Hang on." He went off and we saw that he hugged someone, like really hugged them. And we thought, who on earth would he know at Jules's wedding? Yeah. And it just so happened they worked at Bunnings together.
Yeah, that was incredible. Yeah, that was so funny. It was good. But it was a lovely night. They looked incredibly happy, and it was a really, really great night. But we're not here to talk about the freshies of North Sydney, nor are we a travel podcast. As nice as that would be, maybe we can get Megs involved with that. We'd talk about some games. So it is just me and Dana Banana today. And I want to hear about, because I've heard good things about this. I want to hear about The Hobbit There and Back Again. So that looks like something that I might like to play.
Are you a Lord of the Rings fan?
Oh, I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Well,
are you not?
I am not. I enjoy the movies. However, that's about as far as it goes. And I'm halfway through it. And I just wanted to say how much I'm enjoying it. I absolutely love it. So this is going to be my thoughts from someone who isn't a fan of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Okay.
So in this game, you get a gorgeous hardcover dry erase book, and it's got 8 different maps on it, and they're all highly replayable. So at the start of each round, you'll be rolling either white dice, black dice, or both dice. And on your turn, you're going to select a die, take one of the white die, and draw a path on your map. And outside of that, there are also other symbols that are on the dice. So, for example, there might be bread or there might be swords. And that, depending on which map you're playing, those items will do certain things for you. And you'll continue to draft dice until all the dice have run out, and then you'll roll the dice again, and then you'll continue with the next player going first, and you'll keep going. And basically the map challenge ends when one person reaches the map goal. So it is a race, and it can be played in like individual sessions, and you could just choose to play the map 5 instead of map 1 first. You can choose to play it in any order you like. They're not related to each other, but I would recommend playing at least the first one first, because it does introduce the concepts of the game and just the basics, and it just does tend to build on different concepts as you go along.
Yeah, so I heard about this from our friend Tom, and I had no idea that this game was coming out, because I used to buy every single roll and write that was out there. I used to put flip and write, whatever. I've really curbed back on that. So when it was like, oh, it's Lord of the Rings, it's a Hobbit game, and it's flip and write, I was like, this interests me a lot.
It's excellent.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
really, really good. And it does help that the production is superb, and also the rule book is excellent. Each map is quite different and unique, which I really like. We haven't tried to look forwards just to see what the other maps look like. We like to try and keep it a surprise. And as we read each map and the rules of each map, it's so interesting, and it just builds this excitement about the game. There's not much narrative if that's what you're after. There's a little paragraph sort of at the start about the characters that might be on this map, but it's very small. It's really more about the game. And if you could think about Railroad Inc., I would say that this is sort of like a Lord of the Rings Railroad Inc. Cool. That's sort of what it feels like.
Yeah. I'm down with that level of depth, I think.
And people might say about interaction again, but just like Railroad Inc., you're still interacting by drafting the dice. But the other thing is it is a race. So as soon as someone reaches the map's goal, the game ends immediately. There are no other turns. And then what you'll do is you'll score that map, and obviously whoever has the highest points wins for that particular map. I'm not sure what happens towards the end, whether that changes in terms of calculating your points and maybe adding them all together. I haven't gotten that far yet, and we're sort of leaving it as a surprise, really. But I have really, really enjoyed it. And as I said, the maps are very, very different, and I'd highly recommend this game. Everybody I've spoken to who has played it has enjoyed it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's Hobbit / Lord of the Rings. Like it's going to be popular, right? Like it's pretty good. I was impressed with Fate of the Fellowship. That game that came out last year. That was a cool game.
At PlayCon, yeah.
Yeah. So they're actually doing good stuff with that IP, I think. I want to talk about a game that I played a little while ago with Pete, Harry, and Tom, and that's a game that you and me interviewed the designer, and that's Luthia.
Oh yes.
So I played that for the first time. So I didn't back it when it came out. I ummed and ahed, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. I thought the process of making your instruments, then having your benefactors and how that married in was really cool. Then even like having the little market to sell your resources and stuff, that was a great touch. It's one of those games where there's a lot of overhead in explaining it to start with, because you kind of have to explain everything and how it all links together, because if you don't, you're sort of, it's not as a case of, oh, we'll explain this when it comes up or whatnot. You know, you've kind of got to explain it all before you start, so you have an idea of what your first actions are going to be. But it actually plays really smoothly, hey? Like, it's actually a really smooth play. We played it with 4. It didn't overstay its welcome, but it felt like you got out of the play, and I really enjoyed the placing your marker upside down and having the power, and then that power affecting your the location, and then also who went first in turn. I thought that was really, really clever. That for me really tied it together, because there were some really interesting choices. Was it just a matter of, I just need to go to this space to take the alternate action, or I'm going to go big because I need that particular instrument. I need to make that instrument for my benefactor. Otherwise, I've only got one more turn with him, and he's going to crack it at me. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I can't exactly remember what you said about it on the show, but I'm assuming you enjoyed it a lot.
I own it, so yes, I do enjoy it.
I own lots of games I don't enjoy, though, Dana.
I do enjoy it. I've enjoyed both of his games, the Distilled and Luthia, and I just think the games themselves I enjoy, but they're just classy, if that makes sense. They're just classy.
I think Luthia is really classy. I think that's a good.
They're classy productions, and they're very refined games. I think you can tell that it's been well play tested, and it's been well researched as well. I love a game that has little facts or little historical facts in the rule book. But I really enjoyed that bidding, or where you put your disc on a particular place, and depending on what number it is, will determine whether you go first or last. And that can really play havoc if you need one thing before another thing. It's really, really interesting, and I really enjoyed it. It's very thematic, extremely thematic. Did you use the baton?
Yeah.
Did you use the baton?
We didn't even use the baton. But, you know, the turn order, like, it's almost like a paddle board, like, you know, when you get a tasting flight.
You got to put it on your chin, like you do like a violin. You got to put it there. That's how you do it.
Right, yeah. We didn't do that, but none of us could get it right. And Pete was like, "That's not how you do it. You got to do it this way. Like, the order is this way," because we kept. When I say we, I kept mucking up the order. But yeah, I was really impressed. Look, I will play most things, but I was very, very happy that I got to play this, because one, I think Dave Beck's a great designer. I think, like you said, he puts a lot of work in, a lot of research, and it's very thematic and suits the research. I think it takes a little bit of what Distilled does and builds upon it. And I think that's a really good sign for him as a designer, that he can then, you know, he's gone, okay, Distilled, there was good things about it. There was things that people didn't like. But I really didn't find too many things I wasn't happy with Luthia. The finishing and moving them to the other side, I think that is the theme sort of getting in the way of the gameplay, because like, well, do I have to do 2 actions to, like, I understand preparing once, but you're preparing it twice and then putting it out for the person to use, or putting on the concert. So it's cool. It is, and it feels and I use this in the most sincere way. There's lots of ways to get victory points. So it does feel a little bit point salady, but for me, that's not a bad thing. I like games like that. I like games that have. I
was going to say, why is point salad negative? I don't get it.
I think because that's our question to the pod. No, I think because people would see it as, well, there's not one clear direction for the game, right? So there's not a clear direction for the game, which means that potentially there's a lot of – now, I am not claiming that there's half-baked ideas in any of these games, but I think people would be like, well, none of these things are good enough to create a sense of scoring on their own, so we're just going to give you lots of options. Now, of course, there's people that – there's jokes about Steffenfeld games, like you get your name, you get a point for writing your name down or sitting at the table, like that.
Yes,
but
that's right.
I think that's great. I think it's great giving people opportunities, and not all of them are going to be evenly weighted, and that's okay. And I think that's another reason why is because people get frustrated because I went down this path and it wasn't viable. But for me, that doesn't matter. But if it does to you, that's okay too. But it doesn't really matter to me.
I don't know. I like point salad games. Me too. I think. At least you can do something. There's nothing worse to me than having a game that does have a narrow direction, and maybe it's because of the card draw or something like that. You just can't do anything and you feel hamstrung. And so I actually like point salad games. I think they're a plus.
Me too. So another game that I want to hear a little bit about, because we've had it at a couple of our game days, and that's the Stonemaier trick-taking game, Origin Story.
Okay, I want to preface this by saying I'm not sure about it. It's not really a positive review, but it's not really a negative one either. I was very lucky. It's just a thing. Yeah. So I was very lucky while I was going to Jules's wedding in Sydney. I got to stay with Megs. Thank you, Megs, and thank you, Mitchell, her husband, Mitchell. And she introduced me to Origin Story. And so we got to play a 3-player game of that. And then when I got home, I actually decided to play a solo game because it certainly did enough to intrigue me. So it's a hybrid trick-taking game. And when Megs described it to me, she said, well, it's trick-taking, but actually the crux of the game is the tableau building, really. But when I was reading the material about the game, I really actually thought it was more of a trick-taking game. But it's a bit of both. And it plays over 5 rounds. And the trick-taking game part of it is stock standard. It's just a must-follow with one suit being the trump suit. That's all it is. But you start with this comic book character. So you take a board and it's got a comic book character on it. And I must admit the artwork is lovely, as you'd expect from Stonemaier games. And your character will have a special power that you can potentially charge. It's called charging. And then you will have 3 story cards to choose from. And these will give you an extra ability as well. So it might say, for example, discard one of your cards and draw 1 card. Or it might say, if you play the highest card in the green suit when you win a trick, you'll get 1 victory point. Something like that. You'll get 3, take 1, discard the other 2, and then you're going to place it in. And as you open up your board, I told you about this character that you're opening up. It's like a comic book, and there are 5 spaces to put these story cards. So this is meant to be like your character's story. That's how it's meant to be thematically. But in essence, these story cards just give you additional powers. And there's one resource in the game, which is called stamina. And you'll get 1 stamina at the start of the game, and then at the start of each round, you'll get another stamina. So in round 2, you'll have 3. In round 3, you'll have 4, etc. And the stamina is used to charge these cards. And often you won't have enough stamina to be able to charge all the abilities that you have. So it's up to you to choose which card is appropriate for you for the hand of cards that you have been given. Then you just, after your story card's been chosen, you then have a health dial. And your health dial has 2 sides. It has a hero side and a villain side. You will then pick whether you want to be a hero or a villain. You'll turn it one way or the other. A hero will allow you to score 1 point for every trick you win. A villain will give you 4 points if you don't win any tricks. And then you are going to play the stock standard trick-taking game after that. Then you'll score points and then you'll start again and you'll draft another story card. And you'll do that for 5 rounds. In round 3, there is an event card that comes out, it might change something like, in this round, suits no longer apply. Its highest number wins. And if there are ties, the last one played is the highest card. And then at the end of 5 rounds, you are going to score your points, and whoever has the highest points wins. Now, I played a 3-player game, and I think it plays fairly well at 3. I did also try the solo mode, and actually I did something really interesting. I've never done it before. I read on BGG that you can use an app called Dized. Have you ever heard of that before?
Yes. Yeah.
Dized. Wow, very interesting. They have how to play videos on there of different games, and it just so happened that they recommend
what I had Dized recommend for. But yeah, anyway, please continue.
Yeah, so Dized. Anyway, and they had a tutorial on there, and I actually found it to be quite good because I don't play games solo very often. I'll generally play them two-handed, but it's not really appropriate in a trick-taking game to be able to do that. So it actually is very good because it takes you through the setup, and then you click a button and then it'll say, deal out 8 cards to each player. Click the button. Then it actually literally takes you through, and then it'll say, for example, in the solo mode, it'll say, it's now time to take your turn. Click this button when you've taken your turn. And then it will go, now the automa will take its turn. Is it leading or is it following suit? And you'll click a button and it'll tell you what to do, because one thing I did find with this game with the solo mode, it's kind of convoluted. I just found it a bit clunky because to me, the best thing about trick-taking games is that they're smooth with a wrinkle or two. That's the best thing about them.
Yeah, I agree.
And I just found it was really just annoying to have to remember, okay, now this, because if you're playing solo, you have to play with 2 automas or automas. Automas, I think that's how you pronounce it, isn't it? Is that right?
I say automa, but
whatever. Anyway, those things you have to play with 2, so you're having to do it twice, and then you have to think, because the automa acts differently if it follows and if it leads. And in a trick-taking game, that really stalls the game. Plus, all the cards for all 3 players, so including mine, and all the cards are laid out and you could just see them. So it sort of takes away the mystique of a trick-taking game as well.
Because what you're doing, like what I do, and this doesn't sound very good at them, but when trick-takers, part of what you wonder when you play is, well, what does my opponent still have, right? So there's possibilities.
Yeah.
And I'm not a card counter, but it's like there's possibilities. You play a card going, okay, there's a good chance I could win this trick. There's a low chance I could win this trick. I'm definitely going to win this trick because the only card that can beat it has already been played. I'm going to lead with this card, and that means it's very unlikely that there's going to be trumps played and all that type of stuff. So having the cards played out in front of you is weird for a trick taker.
Well, it feels weird, and I wonder if it was just, well, it's Stonemaier. They always have to have a solo mode, so it was. I don't know, but it didn't give me any joy to play this game solo at all. And part of the automa when it plays as well is when it plays a card, it always draws 2 cards from the deck to sort of mix things up a bit, and you kind of replace some of the cards in its hand. And so you sort of had banked on it's meant to sort of simulate the uncertainty of a trick-taking game.
Okay.
But I just found it annoying.
So
I just found it annoying.
So what I'm getting is you would not play this game solo, but
okay, so yes, I wouldn't play it solo, but it's one of these games where I think I just need to play it more, just to give it a chance. And some games are like that. You know, some games you'll play once and you say, I'm never playing it again.
Yeah.
I just can't stand it. But I do believe that it does deserve a chance. But just to give you an idea, when I did play with Megs and Mitchell, I just was constantly dealt really shitty cards. Ooh, sorry.
You're doing the edit, so you can leave it in or out. We're not doing a Patreon.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Quack.
Yep, quack. I was just constantly dealt really bad cards. And the cards that I was given, the story cards that was sort of going to hopefully help me to play into that, were just not beneficial at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up just feeling a sense of frustration at not having what I was being dealt synergizing with these cards. And Mitchell actually creamed both Megs and I. He was having a blast. His cards were great, and he was doing so well. Notice how I'm not actually blaming my poor gameplay.
Oh,
I'm blaming the game.
Yeah, you're learning. You're learning. That's you could be a video gamer actually with that type of outlook.
So I just I don't know, but maybe when you do have the right hand, and the cards synergize, maybe it's like hitting that perfect golf shot or something like that.
I still wouldn't know about that. Oh yeah, I'm not a golfer's elbow. I can tell you that much.
Can you do anything well?
Yes, lots of stuff. Just none of the stuff that you value.
So anyway, what I'm saying is, in short, I think I need to keep trying, but it's weirded me out a little bit, the game in general.
Well, there's room to grow.
Yeah.
Hey, a game I want to talk about, I think you'd really like, and I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Forestry.
I have heard of it.
Yes.
And just by the name, I would probably like it.
Yes, so you would. So Forestry, it's an interesting style of game, and I think it's one that it doesn't go overboard in terms of putting lots of things together, but I suppose it's along that similar line with it. There's lots of stuff to do, and you don't have to do it all, but it's probably good if you lean into one of the aspects, but then also maybe it's like I'm going to go to 8 in one of these things, and maybe like 4 and 5 into the other. But it's a pretty basic premise. So what you're doing is you are acting as these forestry individuals. So there's a basic side of your character board, and there's also an advanced side that gives a bit of asymmetry, which is kind of cool. We played with the basic side. What you're doing is you'll start the round with a number of actions, and this number of actions can increase if you upgrade enough things. But effectively what you're doing is it's at its heart a mission delivering game where you are collecting different resources, and then what you're doing is you're using those resources to fulfill contracts, kind of a bit like you do in Luthia, right? So you're fulfilling these contracts. But what you're doing is you're moving around the board using these actions, and then sometimes you're removing different trees, sometimes you're replanting the trees, and then getting bonuses based on that. And then in the end, what you're doing is you're trying to complete missions that then link into a specific scoring mechanism on your board. But there's also some things you can do to make your actions more efficient and to help your scoring. One of them is to pick up different woodworking tokens. So then you place them on a grid, and those woodworking tokens then will unlock different aspects if you run them along a column and then a row. So it's kind of cool. I quite like that. And then you need to make sure that you put them. So if you collect the saw woodworking token, all your saw tokens have to go in the one column. There's also the section where when you reforest one of the sections, you collect these little leaf tokens. And I must say that the production is great. The production's really, really good. These little leaf tokens that look like mint leaves.
Oh, mint leaves.
Mint leaves. I mean, no one eats them, right? You might because you're old. But
I beg your pardon.
Hey, you've been getting stuck into me for the whole weekend, okay? I'm just getting one back. So you collect these leaves and you place them down, and I can't remember what we called it, but a really cool thing is that you have this dial. It's not a dial. It's a circular counter in the middle of your board. And when it gets around to a particular section, because you've done enough actions that have this star value, you then get to choose a bonus that you get to take, but you can't take the same bonus. You must move to another one. So it's a really cool choice of going, okay, so I need to move into this section for this bonus and then move into the other one. So again, if you're someone who likes pretty straightforward actions, action selection type game, maximizing. It's a big efficiency puzzle because you want to make sure you're getting the most out of your movement of your digger, and then getting the most out of your, I guess, like your CEO or your office worker moving to those sections. It's all stuff that's really simple, but it makes a really fun game. I really enjoy it. And like I said, I think you would really enjoy it.
Sounds like my kind of game.
Yeah. I think it's a cozy game. It really is a cozy game. It's not overly, aside from someone taking a resource that you might want, there's no, competing over spots. You can both be you can both inhabit particular spots or locations. You can't land in the same spot, and that only really caused a bit of an issue maybe once or twice, but you were able, there was still multiple spots on the board that you can go to. But yeah, if you like action selection, then upgrading those actions to make them more efficient or more powerful, getting more actions, and then a really neat, like I said, scoring mechanic at the end where once you complete missions, you then collect multipliers based on the particular icons on your missions that you complete, and then you can also increase how much you get per each of those icons as well. So it's quite cool. So I believe it was an Essen release, I think. So it came out last year, but forestry, really cool. I only played it the once, so I'm not going to go and sizzle it or anything. But yeah, between the great production, the theme, and the style of game it is, I think it's right up your alley, Dana.
I was looking at the comments and it says, do not play this game at any more than 2 players.
I thought we played it.
What do you reckon?
3? No, it was okay. Yeah. I can't remember if we played it 3 or 4. I think it was 3. I think it was me, Pete, Tom, and I. 3 was great. No, it was enough competition. I don't know, any more than 2. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was more like a game length thing that was just too long.
It wasn't like that long. The teach and all that stuff. I mean, maybe some people are like, oh, it's too long for what it is, or things like, what some people can be like. So, yeah, like I said, I think you would really like that game.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh, God, put it on the list.
Put it on the list. The purchase pen is back.
That's it.
What else you got for me?
Oh, well, okay. I just want to talk very quickly about 2 other games. Okay, they're smallish games. The first one is a trick-taking game, another trick-taking game called Twinkle Starship. I saw this trick-taking game being taught by Luke at one of our Brisbane game days, and I just really like the look of it, and it's not very easy to find. I had to get a copy from overseas. So this is a game by the same designer who did Quattro trick-taking, and I have spoken about Quattro trick-taking before on a podcast as well, which is also another really good
Our podcast or a different podcast?
Yeah. Oh, did I say on a podcast? Sorry, I meant to say on the podcast. Sorry. Oh, my God, no idea. So he's done other games like some of the all-play games like Big Top and Ghosts of Christmas as well. So it comes from a good pedigree. So this is a quirky, must-follow trick-taking game where all the numbers on the cards are shown in a 7-segment format, like on a digital clock or like on a calculator, if you know what I'm referring to. And on your turn, you can modify the numbers into other numbers by adding sticks to them. And these are like little wooden pieces that are just shaped like those segments that you see on a calculator. And you can change the numbers, but you can't change the suit. So, for example, you can change a 0 into an 8. You could change a 1 into a 3 by adding 3 sticks to a 1. You can even turn cards upside down. So a 7 could be changed into a 6 if you turn the 7 upside down and then you add 3 sticks to it. Without using any sticks, you can play a 6 and you could just turn it upside down to be a 9 without using any sticks at all. But there's a catch in this game as well, and the catch is in the scoring. Part of the scoring is this. In a 3 or 4 player game, you only get a certain amount of sticks that you could use. So 3 players, you get 5, and 4 players, you get 6. And this game only plays 3 or 4 players, by the way. But the amount of sticks that you hold in your personal supply also doubles as your bid for how many tricks you are planning to take for the round.
I love this. This is so clever.
And if they don't match, you score 0. So therefore, instead of bidding on tricks from the start, this is kind of a fluctuating thing throughout the round. And often you'll find yourself 1 stick short to modify your card because you didn't calculate it quite right, which means that it can't be used because you haven't got enough to turn a 7 into a 6, which leaves you with too many sticks in your supply, and you haven't got enough tricks won, and then you score 0.
Yeah, this is my type of game.
You get 10 points if you have 0 sticks and you don't win any tricks. You get a blanket 10 points. But there's another thing as well. You get points for other people's sticks that you collect in the tricks that you win. So they're worth 1 point as well. You play, I can't even remember how many rounds. I think it's 6 rounds in a 3-player game. The game is very crunchy, surprisingly, and very entertaining. And actually, it's quite accessible because I played it with my kids. I played it with the family. You'd expect that this game would be too gimmicky, but it just worked. It just really worked. It was a great game, and I'm just so glad that I got it. I must bring it to, I don't know, PlayCon, one of the game days, whatever. I must bring it. Actually, well, someone's already brought it to the game day, but it's great. It's really, really good. Yeah. And of course, you know what we did at the end?
Lost all the sticks.
No. I don't know if you did this as a kid, but did you ever use your calculator to make words with the numbers?
Come on. There used to be a story you would tell, and then it would come up with the infamous word.
Boobs?
Yeah, but then I still remember, right, my sister coming home, and I had one of those old, and now guys, the calculators don't do it anymore because they show the proper Arabic numbers, right? The proper Arabic numbers rather than those digital clock style ones. So 80085 does not look like boobs. It looks like 80,085. That's what it looks like. Okay, that's what it looks like. So it's a shame. God. Technology's ruined one of the great gags of
That's
human
right.
history.
So we spent about half an hour making out all the words that we could make out of these digital numbers. Boobs, boobless. You can actually make Google now.
Can you?
376006. Upside down is Google.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So but it's really great game. So that was Twinkle Starship.
Yeah. What's the deal with this? The Starship? Absolutely nothing.
I don't actually know. I actually don't even know. There was probably
you could got stick tricks.
There's probably you could do. There was probably a theme that I completely glossed over and didn't take much notice of it. But anyway, super easy to learn, but I highly recommend it. So that was one game. And then the other one, this is going to blow your mind, this game.
I'm already looking it up.
What?
I'm going to start looking it up while you explain it.
So it's called Orapa Mine. So ORAPA Mine. So I've been quite impressed with these small box games from a Korean company called Play T. Have you ever heard of them before? Play TE.
No,
anyway. They produce quite a few, a lot of small box games. They do a small travel version of Can't Stop, and they do a version of High Society. They do a version of Money, which is a Rana Knizia game, but they also have their own games as well. Anyway, this one is called Arapa Mine. So think battleships on steroids. That's what I want you to think about.
I'm already looking at it, and this looks very, very fun.
So you're trying to locate different coloured gemstones in your opponent's diamond mine. So each player receives and sets up 5 geometric pieces. So you've got a red parallelogram, a blue square, and yellow and white triangles, and they're hidden behind a screen. And you will then arrange these shapes, and there are certain rules as to how you can place your shapes onto a grid, as I said, behind this screen. For example, the gemstones have grid lines on them, and they must line up with the grid that you're placing them on. They can only touch on corners. You can't have shapes completely joined together, and no shape can be completely blocked by any other shape by all 4 sides. It can be blocked on 3 sides, but not on all 4 sides. So just like battleships, you're trying to sneakily put these shapes to make it harder for people to guess. So on your turn, you're going to fire an ultrasonic beam into your opponent's mine, and you're going to pick a coordinate. So, for example, you might pick and say, I'm sending my beam out from E. And E, for the purposes of this example, is on like the vertical axis of this grid. And the idea is this beam is meant to tell a story of all the gems that it reflects off of. So let's say, for example, I say I'm sending my beam out from E. The other person might say it comes back to E white. So therefore I know it's come off some kind of white object, but also that it's hit it at a 90-degree angle. Now, things become really hard when it starts reflecting off on an angle and hitting other coloured shapes. So what about if this time I say I'm sending a beam out from E, but instead it comes back to E as orange? What's happened? Well, it's actually hit a red and a yellow object, but you just don't know where they are at all. But somehow it's hit 2 objects reflected straight back and come out straight back from the same place. Even worse, what happens if it hits 3 objects and it hits red plus blue plus white and comes out light purple? Or it can hit 4 objects and it comes out red, white, yellow, and blue, and it comes out grey, and it comes out all the way over on the other side of the board because it's gone ping, 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 ping all over the place. And when you get an answer like that, and you've got a little pad where you can write things down, it's got a grid where you can write down where you think the shapes are, but also you can write down the answers of what you asked and what was given to you, the answers. Honestly, when you get an answer like that, you sort of put your hands on your head and you're sort of like going, oh my God, this is so hard. This is like breaking my brain. How am I ever going to find out where these shapes are? Yeah. And it's really, really clever. It's really great. And you can even add an expansion shape to it, which is black, and black absorbs the colour.
Oh my God, for real? So it's like,
to make it even more
amazing,
like difficult to identify what the shapes are. It was fantastic. I loved it. Now, I did introduce this to one lady, and she said, I never want to play this game again.
Then you know it's a good game.
Yeah. She absolutely hated it. You can play it on BGA. Now, I found this hard. It's very hard to, you kind of need a bit of paper to be able to draw it. But like doing it online is like really hard to work out the orientation of the shapes and where the beam would go. It's just I found it really hard to do it that way. But anyway, I think I'd prefer to play it in person. And you can also play it in a 1 versus many, where you've just got one quiz master or whatever, and it's the first person to get the answer is the winner. But they've also brought out a second version, which is going to be interesting. It's called Arapa Space, and you're locating planets, and they're all like really weird shapes. Oh my God, I can't even imagine what that's like. So that is Arapa Mine, and I highly recommend it. It's a great, great game.
I have to play this game. I don't know how good I would be at it, but I think it would be so much fun trying to deduce. Yeah, it looks like a heap of fun. When you said, I looked it up, I was like, what is this? And then when you explained the bouncing off, because initially I was like, why is one axis labeled like A, B, C, D all the way to H, and the one's labeled to R? But then it makes sense, because if it's reflecting, if it's like it's going back to E, it's like, which E? Horizontal or like, yeah. So
correct. So there's only one E.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
No, there's
Yeah.
Also,
But I know what you're saying. Yeah. So it's like it's either going to E or it's going. Yeah, I get it.
So you can have an instance where it doesn't hit anything, and if that happens, you just say it comes out as whatever letter it is as clear, and that means it didn't hit anything, which is actually very good, because at least you can cross out that entire row or column, and you can say, well, actually, there's nothing there. Yep. So at least that narrows it down in some way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good.
That's very clever. Very, very clever. Yes, that's Arapa Mine. Have a look at that. I wanted to just quickly talk about a game that has recently come out. It is, I'm going to say, it's a combination of two very well-liked games, and that is Orléans and Ticket to Ride. And it's called Lightning Train. Have you heard of this one, Dana?
I have.
Yes. So it's Paul Dennen of Clank fame and Dune Imperium.
I was going to say Dune Imperium, yeah.
So Clank and Dune Imperium. So Paul Dennen, great game designer. And if you ever wanted to play Orléans or Quacks and also build a train network, then this is the game for you, because what you do on your turn is you draw out tokens from your bag until you filled up a particular amount of tokens on the board. Now, what you're doing with these tokens is you're aiming to gain contracts to maybe build stations. But what you do is each time you draw out one of these lightning train tokens, you get to put a lightning train down on your board. And these lightning trains are used to, just like in Ticket to Ride, are used to make your path. So it's incredibly fun. It's incredibly random. I had a great time with this because it has enough cube railiness to be able to play it at a reasonably, high level. But you've got the randomness too of drawing the tokens out. In all these games where you're playing with tokens, you can upgrade the tokens from your bag. Sometimes you have to discard your token because it's really powerful. You're then collecting mission cards to give you missions at the end. It's all stuff that you could imagine that would be in a Paul Dennen game, and also a Ticket to Ride type game. The game ends when you get to the other side of the United States and Canada. Sorry, United States and Canada. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the mechanic of drawing tokens out of your bag, and then, do I have enough for a lightning? No, I don't have enough lightning for the trains to come out. You also then can upgrade your own area too, so that you can store more trains, or you can build stations more effectively, easier to move goods. So, what you must do is, in order to move the good, you must have that correct token as an action on your board too. So moving goods, building stations, building track across the United States, all stuff people are really familiar with, but with the added wrinkle of a bag builder. I would love to talk about this game a little bit more. I've only played it once, but I think it's a really clever and fun game. I've seen some people that aren't overly happy with it, which actually everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I just think it's a lot of fun.
I was very surprised when I looked it up that it was a weight of 3. I was not expecting that when you sort of described it as Ticket to Ride and Orleans.
Yeah. I don't know if it is a weight of 3, to be perfectly honest with you. I think maybe the moving of the goods on the rails maybe would make it a bit heavier, but I wouldn't really call it a 3. There's a lot of randomness in it too, so I think sometimes that that might. I would think that randomness would maybe bring it down because it's random and you can't plan it, things like that.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it's particularly heavy. I think it's quite accessible. But I will say, so I played it with Harry and Manny, and Manny was having turn after turn of getting nothing going. So that is the one downside of the randomness of the bag builders.
Yeah.
Is you get stuck in a turn where it's like, well, I can't do anything, and then me and Harry are like building across, moving goods and all that type of stuff. And it was reflected in the score at the end. So, but I guess, there's mitigation. There's ways to get rid of tokens. If you want, you can trash tokens, the tokens that are a bit garbage. But, of course, you've got to have the tokens there to be able to trash them and so on and so forth. So, look forward to hearing more about Lightning Train in the future. I've really, really enjoyed it. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to playing it again. So it's one of the newest games to come out this year. All right, so lots of good stuff in there in our short list section, but now we're going to hit the meat and potatoes of the episode with our sizzles. And Dana, your sizzle is revolutionizing the roll and move. It's bringing it back. It's back.
Oh boy, have I got some good things to say about Magical Athlete. Oh, I love this game. It has hit with every group that I have played it with. And I must admit, when I heard it was a roll and move, I thought, I immediately just got that, And you can hear when you describe it to people as a roll and move, they sort of go, it's a bit of a letdown, but you really have to give this game a chance. And I think it's got good pedigree where it's just come off the back of Hot Streak, of course, with is it CMYK or CYMK? One of
you'd know better than me.
I've got the box here, but anyway, CMYK. So it's absolutely brilliant. So it's a racing game, just like Hot Streak. It's a racing game. And yes, it is a roll and move. So you've got a racetrack and it's got two sides. One's called the mild mile, and the other side is called the wild wilds. Look how cool it is. Look how bright and colourful it is. Can you see that? Look at it. It's fantastic.
Man, what's that? That type of artwork is like, oh man.
Well, if you have a look at the box, it reminds me of, and I don't know if I'm showing my age here, but it reminds me of the old style music books from they had these weird characters on them. But that's what it reminds me of. But the artwork is actually by someone called Angela Kirkwood, and this is her first board game project. So,
do you know what else it reminds me of? I can't name off the top of my head, but I'm going to find out. And when this episode is, I'm going to ask my mum, because when she was doing family daycare, she bought a whole bunch of like puzzles and really, crummy board games to play with the kids. But the artwork was just like that. So we're going to find out what it is, and then I'm going to put it in the Discord. But please continue.
You've got a board. You set it up on the mild mile side. And then you've got 40 cards, which are different races, and each one has their own beautifully painted meeple. And the components in this game are just fantastic. And then you will depending on how many players there are, shuffle the deck, and then you're going to set up 2 times the number of players, that many cards on the table. And then you're going to roll a dice. You're all going to roll your own dice. Everybody gets their own dice. They're huge and they're thick and chunky and they're beautiful. And you're going to see who goes first for a snake draft. So snake draft meaning that the first person will draft 1. It'll go around to the last person. That person will pick 2, and then it'll go back in the opposite direction. And you're going to draft 2 cards. And these will be the characters that you will be playing in 2 of the rounds. So you'll be drafting 2 cards. Then it'll be the person to the left. They will then go first. We're going to set out another set of cards, number of players times 2. And then you're going to draft again. You're going to do another snake draft. So in the end, you're going to end up with 4 characters in your hand. Once that happens, you are then going to decide secretly which character you are going to play for the first race. We're going to be doing 4 races. We're going to play the mild mile side of the board. Then we're going to turn it over, play that as a race. Then we're going to turn it back again, play that. And then we're going to turn it back to the second side and play that. So it's 4 races. And you're going to secretly pick your character. So you place it face down in front of you, and then everybody reveals their character. So you know what people have picked, but you just don't know what character they're going to be playing for that particular round. And then you're literally going to determine first player, and it's done by a die roll. But I think it's nice that if the highest number, if there's a double, for example, if 2 people roll a 6, that those 2 get eliminated, and then it goes down to the next person. So I kind of like that. And then the first player will roll their die and move that number of spaces. But the funny thing is you've got these crazy characters that have got these really weird powers. And the beauty of this game is how they interact with each other. So you've got someone like the mastermind, for example. So at the start of my first turn, I will predict which racer will win. And if I'm right, the race ends and I immediately get second place. There are points for first place, second place, and then the race ends. This mastermind can actually, if he predicts himself, can get first and second place. He can take both places if he wants. There's a character called Sisyphus. I keep saying syphilis, but it's not syphilis. It's Sisyphus.
I really don't think syphilis. I mean, Sisyphus wants to be recognised with syphilis.
Well,
Sisyphus, he pushes the boulder up the.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. But still, it's very hard to say. Well, for me, it is anyway. Before the race, he takes 4 point chips, and if I roll a 6, I actually have to give the point chip back and go back to the start again. Now, the aim of this game after the 4 rounds is whoever has the most points, of course. Now, there are a couple of interesting interactions that we had. And this is, as I said, the beauty of this game is finding out all the different ways that each character will combine with each other. And as I said, there are 40 characters. So the combinations are endless because you're never probably going to know who's playing what in what round. Oh, I should explain first that the easy side of the board, which is called the mild mile, is largely just a roll and move. That's all it is. There's nothing particular on the spaces. But when you turn it to the other side, it gets a little bit interesting. There are spaces that will push you back 4 spaces, or there are spaces where you can get point chips if you land on it. There are trip spaces. Now, trip spaces, if you land on it, your character will lay down, a bit like in Hot Streak. But your next turn will be for you to stand up. So it's kind of like missing a turn. So it's a little bit more interesting and a little bit more unpredictable, that second side of the board. But I was playing a character called Huge Baby, and I just love this character, Huge Baby. How clever is this?
If you're listening and you want a visual like thing, it is the largest game piece I think I've ever seen.
Look at it. It's Huge Baby. And so nobody can ever be on the same space as Huge Baby. If that would happen, he pushes anybody back 1 space. Now, Huge Baby is great because they actually even cleverly made it exactly the same size as this actual space. So he actually takes up the whole space.
It's so funny. It might be the funniest game piece I've ever seen.
So I was playing Huge Baby on the second side of the board. And then someone else was playing Skipper, it was. Skipper. Now, Skipper, he's got like a little wheel, so he's like a skipper of a boat. When anyone rolls a 1 for their main move, I go next in turn order. So if someone rolls a 1, they basically skip everybody else in turn order, and that person gets to go, and including themselves. So if they roll a 1, they get to go again as well. So I was Huge Baby, and I was stuck on this space, which was towards the end of the game, and it was a trip space. So I was stuck not on the trip space, but on the one just in front of it. And so what happened was we ended up with this 5-car pile-up or 5 meeple pile-up behind Huge Baby, because everybody kept rolling 1s or kept landing on Huge Baby. And then what would happen is they would then land on the trip space. So they have to lay down. And then so we had all these characters laying down behind Huge Baby, but I couldn't move because I would roll a 1. And then I roll a 1, and then I don't get a turn, and then it goes back to Skipper, and Skipper gets a turn, and he keeps rolling a 1. And it just was so funny. I wish I'd taken a photo of these characters just piled up behind Huge Baby. And, of course, we're doing all these sound effects and everything where as we're landing on Huge Baby, we're doing a as we land on Huge Baby, and we keep getting tripped all the time, and where everybody's losing a turn, and it was just so funny. And then there was another game where we played with 2 characters. One's called Copycat, and that person has the power of the racer that's currently in the lead, and if there's a tie, I pick. And it just so happened that someone was playing with another character called Mouth, and Mouth eats the other players, like eliminates them. So if he lands on a space, or if he lands on a space with exactly one other player, he eats them, and then they're eliminated from the game. But because I was the copycat, then the Mouth landed on me, and then because it was a tie for the same space, I said, well, I've got the Mouth ability, and I ate her.
You ate Mouth.
And I ate Mouth. But it's just this game is really, really great. There's just so much laughter that's happening. But I want to tell you why I think this could be better than Hot Streak. And I know maybe at a place like PlayCon, maybe that's a little bit different because there are a lot of gamers there. This game is accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
I can play this with my grandmother and still have the same chaotic feeling that I might get from, say, Hot Streak. I know I don't necessarily have as much agency because I'm not putting in cards and things like that, but it's just so simple and so hilarious that it gives me those same feelings, but with anyone. And I was talking to Dan at Jules's wedding, and he was saying his comment was, I actually think it's better as well. Like, I haven't found a combination yet that sort of breaks the game.
Yeah. That's from what I've heard, and all I hear about this game is how fun it is and how silly, and it's what people say is now it's a roll and move. It's like I'm getting that out of the way, but and then it makes sense. It plays into it, right? Like
that's
you couldn't
right.
have this without it being roll and move.
Yeah, I know. Yep. So I highly recommend it. It's a great game. We're going to be playing at the Brisbane Game Day, actually. There's going to be 2 tables of Magical Athlete. So if you happen to be going to the Brisbane Game Day, please sign up and have fun.
For about 3 days, I saw separate people walking with it, posting about it, or talking about it. It was like 3 days in succession. Yeah, and it's I have to play this, I think.
I'm just letting you know that my hero, Tom Vassell, gave it a 10 out of 10.
Well, I don't like it then. Oh, no, you don't want to play it.
God.
Very good. So that is Magical athlete. My sizzle is a little bit different. I actually have played this game a couple of times with a relatively large gap in between the times that I've played it. But this is a game I played a couple of times with Sarah, and I really enjoy it, and that's Marrakesh. Now, a couple of things. This is Marrakesh with Marrakesh. Sorry, first H is what the American friends say. There's also Marrakesh, which is a different game. This is Marrakesh by Queen Games, part of the Queen Games collection.
Yes.
And I played the deluxe version, not the essential version. So the deluxe version is the way to go because it's much better, and there's a bit of sort of mucking around with the essential version, and so the deluxe version is the way to go. But what is Marrakesh? Well, Marrakesh is a Stefan Feld game, so it's one of these point salad games that we talked about. And in essence, it is a worker placement game, but with a little bit of a wrinkle. So what you're doing is you're in Marrakesh, you're trying to do a range of things. You might be installing gates around the city of Marrakesh. You may be venturing up you might be going to university to increase your technology. You might be going up the temple. You might be going up the town hall. You could also be going up the river. You could be selling and buying goods from the bazaar. You could be growing date trees. You could be going to the fountain and meeting people at the fountain to get bonuses. You could also be traipsing through the desert and then scoring that way. So there's a myriad of things that you can be doing. But how do you do these things? Well, the game's played over 3 rounds. And what you will do is you will get 1 keshi of each color. So the colors are, and bear with me, green, black, beige, white, pink, brown, grey, blue, orange, purple, and yellow. And depending on which color that you choose to play will depend on which keshi color, so it would depend on the action itself. So I'll quickly whip through the actions, and I'll try and make this nice and quick. So the first action that I'm going to talk about is the river. So that's the blue keshi. So what you're doing is you're going up the river, and the person who goes first up the river will get some points, and you'll get points as you go up. And then there'll be a bonus, a random bonus, depending on the round of the game. The next color is grey. And with grey, what you are doing with grey is you're going to university and you are increasing your technology. So this might give you a once-off power. It might give you a ongoing power, but you can choose to that if you wish. White and black. I think one's the temple and one is like the town hall. But the way that this works is these are connected by lines, and depending on what section you are in, you draw a line from where you are in the white section to where your marker is in the black section, and you can choose one of those bonuses. And of course, if you have the right technology, you can choose more than one, or so on and so forth. The higher you go up each of these sections, the better the bonuses are going to be. So it's black and white. The beige section is putting down gates. So putting down gates will get you a keshi of that color. So if you want to place another keshi into your city, then you can do that. So it'll give you keshi of the color that you wish. It'll give you a keshi the color of the gate that you take, and then you'll get some bonus points if it matches the color of that section. The brown is like a journey that you're going on, and we'll do some end of game scoring. So what you do is you flip the token to see if you want to incorporate any end of game scoring, and then another action will be to then choose to do it. So that's up to you if you wish. Green is planting dates. So dates are one of the resources that you need to use to pay for things. Pink is going to the fountain. And this is a cool one because what you do is you place your keshi, which is your little, in the essential version, it's a little token. And there is a dial that has a number of people on it. So like 1, 2, or 3. And you will get that many of that particular resource of the keshi that it's on. So it might be moving up the white track, it might be getting some water, it might be getting gold, so on and so forth. So it's a pretty cool thing to do. And then finally, you've got the orange, purple, and yellow sections, and that's the markets. That's where you can go to buy and sell things. So depending on how many of the orange, yellow, and purple keshis that you have, you can buy different things. And there's a set collection, so that when you might be buying slippers, you might be buying tureens, you might be buying necklaces, and so on and so forth. So there's a bit of set collection. And then also that might be every time you buy technology might be every time you buy a slipper, you get a bit of water or whatever. What you need to make sure you do though is that you have enough resources to pay, or you will lose victory points. So you need to make sure, and each person is going to have to pay the same number of resources but different types. So you might have to pay 2 water and one date, or a gold and a date. Now, why water is important, how you get water or extra water, is the red keshi. Now, what the red keshi does is you place it into your city. You can take an action that you took a previous turn when you used the red keshi. But if you take an action that has a red keshi associated to it, you get an extra water drop, which can be really, really useful. So this is all well and good. Keshis, actions, well, how does it all work together? Well, this is the cool part and what I really like about it. Each turn, you and your opponent behind a screen are going to choose 3 keshis. And then you're going to show what keshis you are putting into the tower. But before you do that, the color of the keshi that you're putting in the tower, that's the actions that you're taking. So if I was to pick a green keshi from my supply, I would be taking the green action, which is to gain some dates. Okay. If I was to take a blue keshi, I would be taking the river action. If I took a grey keshi, I would be going to university. But the cool part is that once you put your keshi into the tower, they drop down. Sometimes they get caught. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't do the action, but it does mean that potentially there's an extra keshi that has stayed in the tower. And then when you choose which keshi that you take all of that one particular color. So if for some reason there's been 3 keshis over numerous turns that have stayed in the tower and they all drop down, you can take those 3 keshi, and the more keshi that you have locked into your player board, the more powerful that action is. That's what I really like about it. That's what I really find really enjoyable. So just because you don't take the color of the keshi, in fact, you might not want to. You might have put a color in, and then there's a really juicy number of keshi to take, and you're going to take that. At 2-player, it can get really, really nasty because it's like, oh, we both put the beige in, the 2 beiges came out, I'm going to take the beige, and then it sort of neuters the other action. So it's really cool. So you play it over 3 rounds. You do 3 lots of feeds, or play 3 lots of resources, and then at the end, you score points for doing various things. It's just that process of keshis go in, you make your actions more powerful. It's a Stefan Feld game, so it's one of these point salad games that we were talking about. It's not as point salady as some of his other ones. It's definitely got that vibe. Both times I've played it, I've gone down different routes, and when I played with Sarah, so is she. And you're just trying different things, looking to get more powerful. If you have a full section, you get points at the end. So that means if like all the gates are filled up, then you'll get more points. So for each section that's full, you'll get points. You'll get points for where you sit on the different tracks at the end of the game. You'll get points for the set collection. It's just Point City. It's so good. No, that's a different game, Point City. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's one of these great games that's sort of been redone, and I would really, really recommend, if you can, it's a little bit more expensive, get the deluxe version, because with the other version, it has this weird thing where you don't, the cubes go into the tower, but you don't actually take the cubes and put them on the board. You put a little chit, so you've got to find another chit and put it down this way. You just grab them out of the base of the tower, you pop them on your board, and you're good to go. But the whole thing of, oh, you took both the greens, I took a green action, now my green action's poo, and so on and so forth. It's just really fun. it's not a hard game by any means. It's quite simple, but there's a lot of great decisions to make. It's a lot of fun. I just really enjoy games like this. That there's a lot of options. It's what we were talking about before. There's just a lot of options for you to do, and I don't think there's a bad one to do. I think it's all a lot of fun, and I said to Sarah, I would play this game anytime with her. I think it's really fun. I think it's really great, and just it's really nice and tactile too, because you pick up the keys, you put them in your board. Yeah. It's really fun.
It's like a little – I have played it once before at 2 players, and it's like a series of like mini games.
Yeah, yep.
That's what it feels like. It feels like a series of mini games.
Yeah.
And I do recall that, that frustration of, oh, damn it, my Keshi didn't come out.
Yeah.
That I wanted or whatever because it got stuck in the tower.
So it's like you're going, hang on. I definitely put a blue one in because I'm taking a blue action. Where is it?
Yeah.
And it's stuck in the tower. Yeah, it's so fun. And then you're just hoping that the next time it comes down. So
Yeah. No, it was a great game, and I didn't find it difficult. It's a little overwhelming when you see it set up on the table and you go, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff. But it's actually not a difficult game.
Because you're only taking 3 actions a turn. That's it. Now, sometimes there's a little bit of combo stuff, like with the white and the black tracks. So maybe you'll get to take an extra action or move up another track. But it's pretty much just either adding an extra keshi, taking a keshi, moving up a track, which then gives you something. But it's nothing like, oh, I do this, and that's supposed to do this, that's supposed to do that, and so on and so forth. But yeah, each of the different sections has a different, I guess, like a different rule that goes with it or interacts with a different part of the board. And I just find that really enjoyable. It's like going to a buffet, right?
Yeah.
It's like going to a buffet. I get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Yeah.
Yep.
It's
I know it's point salady, but there's something more to the actions than just it being just taking something.
Yes.
Like just taking something. I don't know. As I said, the little mini games are just so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's just moving. So like, for example, the white and the black tracks, you're moving up the track, but you're thinking, okay, I need to time it so that when I move into this section, I'm going to make sure my representative on the black track is down the bottom still, so I can get that bonus I want. So it's just not a matter of I'm going to move up really quick. There is benefits, as you skip a section, you get a coin or things like that. And I just feel like there's not many bad moves. Like I just don't feel like there's bad moves.
Yeah.
It's rewarding to do most of the action. So yeah, it's Marrakesh. If you can get your hands on the deluxe version, get your hands on the deluxe version. Yeah, a lot of fun. And again,
I played with the deluxe version as well. I don't think I'd like to play the other way.
I think shout out to our friend Pete. Pete fell victim to it because he's like, essential. This means it's the one I should get. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's
You know that game you've been wanting for a long, long time? The one that's been on your wish list for ages? Yeah, that one. The one you've been adding to your cart and taking off again, umming and ahhing about whether you should get it or not? Well, I'm here to push you over the edge and say go to adventgames.com and add that to your cart right now. I bet you that Dean has a great price on it, he's got great customer service, flat rate shipping, and there's so many other goodies to explore on the website. Wonderful categories all organised to pick the exact game that's right for you and the group that you play with. So head over now, don't hesitate, to adventgames.com.au and add that game to your cart now.
And now we're going to move on to a chunky announcements and news section. So, of course, we need to talk about PlayCon, the 3rd to the 5th of July 2026 at the TikTok ICC in Sydney. Because it's sponsored by TikTok, right, Dana? The ICC.
I did know that. That's so bizarre, isn't it? Sponsored by TikTok. Yeah.
So tickets are, of course, on sale now. It is absolutely humming. The preparation is going great guns. One of the things that you can do is apply now for Designer Alley and, of course, the Design Day coming up. More details about the Design Day. If you're interested for volunteering as well, if you've got knowledge of board games and experience at teaching, that would be great, but it is not essential. There are plenty of different things for you to do. We've got a range of shifts that you can put your name down for if you wish, and we can make it as suitable for you as possible. What else are you looking forward to with PlayCon, Dana?
What am I looking forward to?
Yeah. Don't say it being over.
No. No, I think if I could, I would love to meet Andrew Bosley. I've actually got some of his artwork in my game room and it's signed by him. And so I would really love to meet him.
I'm sure you're going to have the opportunity to meet him, I'm sure, as one of the organisers.
I hope so anyway. Okay, this is the thing. I get shy and then I don't know what to say.
You do funny things when you're shy, though, so I think it's great.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, God. Anyway.
So that is the 3rd through the 5th of July. Really looking forward to that. One of my favourite times of the whole year. But if you're wanting some board game barbecue gaming goodness before that, we, of course, coming up on the 28th of Feb at the Royal on Park, we have Dana's own Brisbane Game Day. So tickets for that are on Eventbrite. Brisbane Game Day, always a lot of fun. Great community up there. I'm sure you're looking forward to it, Dana.
Yes, the game teachers will be coming out this week.
Excellent.
Sometime, so keep an eye out for that on After Game.
Yep. Good. And then if you're in Sydney or any parts of please, you feel free to come from any state to come to the Sydney Game Day. You can even come from my old home state in Victoria, to the Sydney Game Day at our usual venue at Castle Hill on the 14th of March. Myself and Jules will be there running that. It'll be my first Sydney Game Day I feel like I finally got home ground advantage, Dana. I got home ground advantage finally. I don't think it's going to help me.
No, I was going to say, yeah. I don't know.
I don't think even God can help me at this point with winning games. But
no.
Although I did tie with Tom. We were playing Lost Ruins Arnak and I tied with Tom.
Unbelievable. He must have been having a bad day.
I think I was distracted. I think he took pity on me because of my injury. I think that's what happened. And we have a save the date of March 14th for the Melbourne Game Day. So that more info for that will be coming out soon. So unfortunately, if you would like to go to both Sydney and Melbourne, that's no bueno, but that's okay. We'll be having fun at them regardless. So I'll just quickly run through them again. So the Brisbane Game Day, Feb 28th. Tickets are on Eventbrite. Same for the Sydney Game Day at Castle Hill on the 14th of March. Both tickets for those events are on Eventbrite, and more info for the Melbourne Game Day on March the 14th soon. So thank you for your patience. All right, so last week's question of the pod was, what are your 2026 board game predictions? Dana, you can't predict something that is actually going to happen. What's this? You
said
brass.
Don't say it. I wanted to answer the question. You're not meant to say my answer.
But that you can't predict something that's already happening.
Okay, I'm predicting that Brass Pittsburgh, but let me finish. I just wrote a note here, Brass Pittsburgh, but I think it's going to be, if not the biggest, the second biggest Kickstarter ever.
Okay, all right, okay.
That's my prediction.
Right. I thought it was like,
I'm not sure it'll
it's coming out.
Nemesis Retaliation at 21 million or whatever, but
is incredible.
Yeah, but it might go 12 million. It might go 12 million.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my prediction.
Okay, fair enough. My prediction is, I haven't really thought about this, but I'll come back. I'll come back because I kind of have an idea marinade. We'll come back.
I'll read from Facebook.
Yes,
while you
go
think.
for it, and I'll think. Yeah.
So Andy Dock said, probably there will be some more revamped versions of older classics. Tigris and Euphrates being brought to Kickstarter in a couple of weeks. Looking at anniversaries, perhaps Thern and Taxis is 20 years old this year.
That's so weird. I hadn't heard of Thern and Taxis for ages, and this is like the second time I've heard about it in a week. It's just like, I'm pretty sure I live in the Matrix. I'm pretty sure you're AI. I
have heard of this game. This was way back when I was sort of Ticket to Ride was a thing, and we were playing that type thing, but I haven't heard it since, so that could be interesting. Chris Anthony says, Anthony. Oh, sorry, I'm having a shocker. God. Anyway, Chris Anthony, says, just like last year, I think there will be even more deluxeified reprints of classic games.
So my opinion on this is that they're safe bets. They're safe bets. They can make money on them. So I think Chris is onto one here. I think he's right.
Yeah, there'll be another Awakened Realms reprint of some sort of deluxe thing of something. Well, they've got Agricola. Mm-hmm. Maybe they might do Caverna. I don't know whether, though I'm not sure whether that's a big enough game. I don't know. Ian White says, I won't get to play the board games I really want to play, nor will I get to play as many board games as I wish to.
That's sad. That
goes without saying, really, though, isn't it? I mean, really, that's a given.
Not this guy. I'm playing way more games than I used to.
Oh, well, yes. Now that you're in Sydney, you've found your people. Crowdfunding games will stall, starting the downfall of several developers, Simon style, as people start to realise that Kickstarter and GameFound are just full of companies trying to cash in using FOMO tactics. It is obvious that the platforms are no longer the place to find good indies, as they are drowned out by massive businesses. And it's only going to get worse with Asmodee joining the crowdfunding party. Plus, you can pick up so many Kickstarters or GameFound games secondhand with 12 months of them being shipped, and they are often never being played. On a more positive note, I predict I'm going to have a great time at PlayCon.
Yes, both men done a punch in the air with that comment.
Yeah. And, that was, God, I've had a shocker here. I'm sorry, that was by Adam Buoro. I didn't even say his name. Oh, terrible. Anyway, what can I say? And Robert Ellick says there'll be a Terraforming Mars legacy. I would be so into that.
Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah.
So I worked out what my prediction's going to be. So I think there's going to be like a DC Champions. So it's like a Marvel Champions. There's going to be an official DC Champions or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Champions, because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is supposed to be in Super Fantasy Brawl. That's, that's in limbo. So I think they'll ferry out the license and they'll do that, because there's a lot of that Champions sort of format. If Fantasy Flight wanted to use that, there'll be a lot there. But no one cares about what my prediction is.
DC never does really as well, though, does it? It just never does. Yeah. Anyway.
So I think that's why they could piggyback on the Marvel Champions. Yeah. So Kenny says Simon will go out of business. But then Glenn said, Simon will rise from the ashes and deliver me the new Massive Darkness. So sort of competing views. And our good buddy Jay says, number one, less trick takers and more inspiration from other classic card games, e.g. Balatro clones. I would be down with that. Proportionally more light and party games, so like Flip 7 clones. There's already another version of Flip 7 out. So Jay's predictions getting
7 version.
There's a new one. There's a new version of Flip 7.
Really?
Yeah. Did you miss that?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. There you go.
And then his third prediction is more smaller box campaign games. So, for example, Lord of the Rings trick-taking games, Sail Legacy, and so on and so forth. One game I am keen to try, and I think I'm going to grab it, is Regicide Legacy. So that's with the card game. So I think
I'd love to try that.
And Eternal Decks too. I've had that opportunity for a couple of times. So that was last week's answers to the question of the pod. Today we've mentioned the term, I was only going to say fruit salad. Goodness me, I must be hungry. I need some vitamins. We mentioned the term point salad and how it's sometimes referred to as derogatory or whatever, but we've both in agreement that it's not. It's just a term used. What we would like to know is, do you prefer games that have one sole path to victory, i.e. you're competing for the same resource, the same victory track, the same location, whatever you're doing? Or would you prefer it to have multiple paths to victory, like a game like Marrakesh, like Civolution, like Lords of Waterdeep? Would you prefer multiple routes to victory, and why? I think I would prefer the multiple, but that's not to say. So I think of something like Root, right? Root, it's all about fighting, combat, moving on the track. Yes, there's different ways to get points, but the majority of the ways to get the points is to fight your opponent, and it's strictly dependent on your faction. Right? It's not like, now I'm going to go build houses or, things like that. So, I think there's games that I love that have the single path to victory, but I think having lots of different paths, as we said before, gets a bit of variety. What about you, Dana?
Same, exactly. I actually love point salad games. When I hear about a game that is a point salad, and it's got that point salad feel to it, I love it. So to me, I just don't like feeling like I'm just stuck. And then and often point salad games, not all the time, but often point salad is referring to like heavy Euros and things like that. Like being in a game for a long time and you're just feeling useless, I just don't like it. It just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. And it gives you more levers to pull, right? Levers to pull, see if things work. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I quite like it. All right. But no one really cares what we think about this. What we care about is what you think. So please get on our socials. Let us know what you think of our question of the pod. We would greatly appreciate it. Speaking of our community, it would be remiss of me not to mention our patrons. We could not do this without you. Thank you so much for your support. We greatly appreciate it. We are in the process of making some more Patreon episodes for you. We're going to have lots of things to look forward to. The Patreon party at PlayCon, different events. We had the Jackbox party pack just before Christmas, and that was a whole heap of fun. So really looking forward to that. And of course, we have a new patron. We have Jal. So thank you, Jal, for joining. Hopefully you enjoy the swath of Patreon content for you that's been available. And if you can come and enjoy some of our events, even better. Make sure if you haven't already, you jumped onto Discord and you can become part of the pit. So get on that. And of course, you can, if you would like to sign up to become a patron, you can always go to patreon.com/boardgamebarbecue to sign up and get access to the exclusive content, I should say, that we were talking about before. And if you're not in a position to contribute as a patron, that's fine. There's plenty of other ways to support the podcast. And please just tell your mates about how much you enjoy listening to us and getting involved in our community. You can go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave a rating. You can get involved in the Board Game Barbecue community by joining our Facebook community, following us on X, Instagram, and listening to our uploads on YouTube. And there is one of my favorite places to hang out, the Discord community. I've made lifelong friends on the Discord community. It's been fantastic. So get involved to support the show. All the links are in the show notes. We are coming towards the end of the episode. This duopisode. I'll come up with something. Mitch is the guy who comes up with terms.
I know. He comes up with all that stuff.
I'm going to say what I'm fired up about first, because I think yours is much more exciting.
Sorry.
Yeah, clearing your throat. So I'm fired up because we have decided within our game group that we're going to start an Oathsworn campaign. And Oathsworn is my number one game of all time. I get to play it with some of my best friends. I'm really excited. It's such a great game, and I'm excited to share it with them. So that's what I'm fired up about.
What a gift for moving to Sydney, and you get to play the campaign of your number one game.
Yep. How good. How good.
That's great.
What did I do? What did I do to be blessed with such amazing people in my life?
Yeah, I know.
But then I've got to put up with you. I'm kidding.
You're getting me back, aren't you? for eating your biscuit at the wedding.
Of all the slights that you had against me, you ate about a 16th of the cookie that we got from Jules and Kieran. Yeah. But I will say, part of this I'm a little bit on, but the other part of your fight up is very exciting. Please tell the listeners what it is.
I think I have mentioned, I'm not sure, but I'm going to Dice Tower West. I'll be flying out to the United States on the 8th of March, so it's coming up very soon. I've got a VIP badge, which gives you sort of benefits. You get like an extra show with the Dice Tower team. But it was like 200 people. There's like 200 badges. So I might not get to properly meet the Dice Tower crew, which I would love to, in particular Tom Vassell. So I just happened to be on Kickstarter, and no, it was GameFound, I beg your pardon, and the Dice Tower having their Kickstarter campaign. And I saw that Tom Vassell, you could buy tickets to have dinner with him. So I clicked that button immediately. It cost me a fortune. It was very expensive. But I'm doing it. And this is what I plan to do, Connor. And I think it would be kind of funny, but you can tell me if it's funny or not. But I was going to get a series of clothing items that I could wear and layer them, but they would have Tom Vassell's face on them. So like maybe a button-up shirt. Now, I've already got a T-shirt with his face on it, but I could get some other items on it. And when we go to dinner, I'm going to say, oh, look, is this a bit weird that like I've got your face on the shirt? And he'll probably say, yes, it's weird. And then I'll take my button-up shirt off, but then there'll be another one underneath with his shirt. And I said, I'll take it off. And it'll just keep going like that. And I think it'll be funny.
It would be funny. But you are running the risk of having like a restraining order put out on you and being made to leave the country.
He's got a good sense of humour, I reckon.
I think you'd find it funny. You need, you know how our friend Ben has the shirt with his face on it that he wears?
Yeah.
You need that, but with Tom Vassell's face on it. Just like
exactly
100 Tom Vassell faces.
Yeah, that's what I need. Yep. And I like there'll be just weird things. Like maybe I'll go to pay and I'll get my wallet out and like a little photograph. Will pop out of my wallet. I'll go, sorry.
You can on your bank cards now. You can get different images. You get the image of Tom Vassell on your bank card.
Yeah. Oh God, that would be so funny. I'd love that. But anyway, I am very much looking forward to it, and I need to come up with some intelligent questions, if that's at all possible.
You'll do well.
I can't have the same question that everybody else has asked, Connor. They have to be special.
Your infectious personality will come out. That's
I better not drink, otherwise it's going to go truly off the range.
Or Baileys.
That's it. Yeah. Oh God.
But yes, so that's what's got us fired up. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Board Game Barbecue. Thank you to our sponsors, Advent Games and More Than Meeples, and of course our Patreon supporters for supporting us. We're very grateful for the support we've had over the last couple of weeks. So thank you. Been a pleasure, Dana. Always a pleasure recording with you.
Pleasure.
Thank you all for listening. Keep playing those games, and we'll talk to you again soon. Catch you later. Bye.
Bye. No problems at all.
Did you want to take a photo of me? I know it's a bit dark.
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
I forgot. No, it's perfect. It's perfect. I forgot about that.
I'm just going to hide my cast.
I reckon it's funny.
I don't, because I'm you might think it's funny.